Welcome back to the Circle Podcast. My name is Philip. I'm joined by my two best friends. If they'd like to introduce themselves.
Hi, my name is James.
Why you look at me like I gotta go first, huh?
I don't know, man. We're going like counterclockwise or something.
It's Andrew. Back again.
Nice to have you guys back. And we have my lovely girlfriend on this episode today. This is kind of an oddball episode. I was supposed to have a special guest here, but he flaked on me. And I hope he sees this. So we're kind of just freeballing it, and we went on Reddit and found some posts that we're gonna read and talk about. So, Andy, if you'd like to start.
I'm about to shake up the universe right now.
Shake up the universe.
There's
Follow us on Instagram.
Yeah, me too.
Subscribe to us on YouTube, please.
Yes. and
Circle
Instagram,
Podcast
Circle
underscore.
Podcast underscore for
Underscore.
Instagram.
Understore.
Understore.
Yeah,
Understore.
Circle Pod-
Under the store.
Under the store.
Circle
where you'll find us.
Podcast on YouTube. You know, raise our views, huh? All right. Let me first. If you guys don't know, there's a great subreddit out there called Change My View. And it is just a bunch of liberal, radical opinions. Some are not just normal. But, you know, I guess people who post here either want to be proven wrong.
Or just think it's funny to hear their arguments.
Yeah. Or, I mean, like, yeah, they want to be proven right, but that might be like a stroke of ego, maybe.
Hmm.
I have a question for you guys. Are we gonna read just the title, or are we gonna read?
Well, this one's particularly doesn't really have it doesn't have a long argument.
I'm just saying though.
I think you could do what you want, like, because I have
Okay.
some that I don't plan on reading, like the whole post
Okay.
or comments.
Well, I just want to hear this guy's opinion.
For sure.
But, you know, it's... Anyways. So this changed my view is about relationships.
Love it.
It says, long-term relationships,
Oh, this is gonna be great.
i.e. decades long, are a recipe for resentment, boredom, and disappointment. And he says, reason behind my view.
Years of experience.
My upbringing pretty much instilled this belief. I haven't seen many long-term relationships in my life, especially in the family, where divorce and or unhappy marriage was commonplace. We are all products of our environment, and I find it very hard to imagine being with someone for such a long time and actually enjoying it. Emphasis on actually. I'd like to believe, however, that it can be different. I'd also like it to be different for myself, and she is a 25-year-old female. Wow, I thought this was coming from a male. If I ever meet someone to be with for that length of time, I just know that I'd rather be single than unhappy with someone else.
I agree, like, entirely with you're a product of your environment. Like, I think that's why she has such a cynical view on it. Like, for me personally, like, divorce is not common in my family whatsoever. So, like, I can see myself being with someone for, you know, the rest of my life.
Same for me, except Mexicans don't really believe in divorce. Maybe also it might heavily weigh on like Catholicism.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But with that, I also see a lot of unhappy people that should not be married.
True.
Because they feel obligated
Yes.
to stay married.
Yes, because of maybe the religion they're in, but also because of the upbringing. Like no one broke up.
Well, for those marriages, did they get married young?
Yes. Yeah, I would say so. Because most of my family is they're married pretty young, I would say.
I
except
think
for
that
one.
has a lot to do with like unhappy marriages. I mean, there are, you know, success stories where they met when they were 15, got married instantly, and lived happily ever after. But I think for the majority, it's like...
I wouldn't say that long relationships are impossible, but I would say that when you're so young, I don't really think you know what you like and what you like in another person.
Mm-hmm.
And young could be subjective, but I feel like that's why people, and then there's obviously like accidents and like baby accidents.
Shotgun weddings.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So, and Catholics don't really believe in condoms either. So
Yep.
True.
that's a recipe for disaster.
I don't know. I think that your first relationship should not be your only relationship ever in your life.
Yeah.
Because like my parents, it was my mom's only boyfriend. She married my dad. And like she does like resent some of the things that he does. She's not a resentful person, but some of the things that she does or that he does has always bothered her. But she doesn't know any different. Like she's never experienced anything different. So she probably was like, yeah, I just it's part of marriage.
Yeah, but I mean, I would agree. I think very long relationships do get boring. I think anyone that's in a long-term relationship can say that. But I think it's the responsibility of both to spice things up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Either way, it's going to take work.
Yeah. The love is there. I don't think the love is boring, but I just think the routine people would say is boring, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, you just have to, create new things, experiences and stuff. So I don't think long-term relationships are impossible. I think, I just think people don't do them right. People don't
To stay happy.
Yeah, the foundation isn't correct, right? So, yeah, to stay happy too. But yeah.
James, you want to read one?
Yeah. Cool. Next one. I'm not going to read the whole thing just because it's long. But this is the argument. Death should be viewed as a disease to be cured, and it is immoral to view it as necessary. Yeah.
To view it as necessary?
Immoral to view it as necessary. It's like a necessary thing, part of life. I read briefly through it. They're just saying... they're comparing it to like diseases like measles and polio. Like we never viewed it as like, oh no, that's just life. Like it is what it is. Yeah. So they're saying the same thing about death.
So they're saying that it is something that should be cured.
Yeah, that we should be striving to prevent death.
That's just a recipe for overpopulation.
You think
like
so?
death as in aging?
Yeah.
Like stop aging or just stop the process of dying?
Both.
Like we continue to grow old?
No. So like I think the argument is so that because if you continue to age, you're eventually going to die, right? Because your aging is deteriorating.
Not necessarily.
Well, do you mean aging just by time, or do you mean aging as in your body grows old and starts to break down?
I don't know, because like when you're from toddler to like 30s, you're not breaking down, you're not deteriorating.
True.
So like what if like
but
that
like
was
35
the type
on,
but like what if that is the type of growth that we continue to have? Like we just like continue to get stronger and like more powerful. Like I'll be a superhero by the time I'm 400.
Yeah.
Like is that like a possibility? Like cure death at 25 and you'll be like the strongest person ever?
Sure. Yeah. I think just the point is we would never die.
That's a good point. Like why? Well, I guess that's a big question. It's like why do we age? But why do we start deteriorating when we age?
Yeah, I don't. That's a good. That is something that's interesting, because supposedly the whole point of our existence is to reproduce, right? That's one of the main forces of evolution is to pass on your genes. So then, wouldn't the ultimate success of that is we never die and we're forever fertile? Because then we would be passing our genes forever, right? Has that just not resulted yet? Or is it impossible?
I don't know. I think that if you cure death, you have to stop reproduction because the world will crumble.
Yeah, we have finite resources and so on. But I don't know. Do you think that's something we should strive for?
Absolutely not.
You don't think so?
No.
That's a I don't know either. That's a good one.
Because what if through curing death we become infertile? What if that was the case and there are no more offspring?
Okay, I'm gonna base this off of Vampire Diaries because why the hell not?
Sure.
One of the vampires just got bored with her life. Nothing was fun anymore. Like I think that's kind of what it would be like if we lived in a world like that. Like nothing is exciting anymore.
You think so?
I do think so. Like at one point you'll experience everything there is to experience if you live forever. So what's the excitement of life?
True. But at the same time, like what's your favorite food?
Filipino soup.
Filipino soup?
Yeah, sinigang.
I'm pretty sure like if you have it every day, right? It's going to get boring. You're going to get tired of it. But if you're having it like once a year forever, you think you'll get tired of it?
I don't know. If I visited Paris every single year,
You think you'd get tired of it?
I think I'd get tired
What
of
if
it.
What if you visit Paris once every decade? You think you'd get tired of it?
If it is ever changing. If it is constantly evolving,
Then you wouldn't.
then I wouldn't get bored of it.
Okay.
But that is like, it has to do that.
Okay. I'm just thinking, because if you have unlimited things to do, right? As long as you're not doing consecutively, I'm sure like by the time you get back around to skydiving, after you've done every other possible thing, like would you even remember what it felt like at that point? Would it almost feel like you're doing it all over again from the beginning? Yeah.
It might. I don't know. I don't know. What? I feel like it's just like evolution's population control that people
Die.
But it's just like, what would the world be if we didn't age? I mean, there would still be deaths in the world. You could still die, like car accidents, cancer, smoking, heart disease. But what statistically would you be more prone to dying if you're living longer?
You mean like by accident?
By
deaths?
accidents, by other things.
I think it depends on how you're living your day to day. Like, some people go their entire life without ever being in a car accident.
I would imagine the longer you live, the higher your odds are of
right.
dying, right?
So what would that
right.
even out?
I
You
don't
know what I
know.
mean? Would that even out aging and deaths by aging?
But what if you're like Wolverine? Like, what if you just
Regenerate.
Regenerate.
Yeah.
Man,
If that is their cure to death, is just regeneration.
I feel like there'd be a lot of recklessness in the world. I tell you what.
No, I think
That's true, man.
the world would erupt in chaos because rules. Why would I have to follow rules if I can, like, break my neck to get out of this situation,
True.
or
Yeah.
like
or even like
That's true.
driving really fast.
That is a good point. You'd
There-
have no fear.
Yeah.
no law and order.
I'm like, yeah, this may hurt, but I'll be okay.
Yeah. How would that work with like jail too? It's like, oh, okay, if I rob this store, I'll get 5 years? That's nothing.
As
I'm
opposed to like
gonna-
my entire life.
yeah,
Exactly.
I'm gonna live for
Well,
millions of years.
Yeah.
Would like jail sentences change
Get
though?
longer. Mm.
Like you're going to be in here for the rest of time? Like, would that be a thing?
Or if that's the case, though, would there still be crime if you can no longer harm someone? Like,
Yeah.
True.
I'd be like, I feel
You
like
can
they're
harm someone
stealing-
financially, like that can still be a crime. But if you
Yeah.
can't kill someone, I mean, I guess, first degree murder, second degree murder
it's
would
gone. It's
be
gone,
eradicated.
right? Yeah.
Would they just jail you on the intent? Okay, so you tried
You
to kill
were
this
gonna
guy,
do
you're outta
it.
here.
Maybe, yeah.
10 years you were going to do it.
Imagine how crazy UFC would be if people
Oh my
regenerated.
God.
By round, they do their little break. Round 2, they're 100% again.
No, that guy whose shin bone wrapped around the other guy's leg, it
fucking
would heal
Silva?
Yeah,
instantly
Silva.
and then he'd keep on fighting.
Yeah. Every round is like round 1 again.
How the fuck would you win then?
I wish I was listening up to this point.
Missing out, bro. Missing out.
I was like, you're being awfully quiet.
I'm trying to find a post.
I don't know. I that's a good question. How long should people live?
Well, do
Yeah.
you think that
I
there
think
should be a
that's
cure to
the
death?
question.
Yeah.
I think that's the question.
I think there should be something to prolong life, but to cure death, I don't think so.
Do you think it should only be like reserved for certain people, or do you think it should be like free to the public, like a flu shot?
What do we mean by
Like,
reserved?
not the president, but the president's bodyguards. They can't be harmed because their job is to protect the president. Stuff like that.
No, I think anything that becomes, specific to one person or like only to certain people, then there's ways of corruption to it.
What if you're in like a dangerous job like construction?
No,
What if
it's part of it.
What if it was like a vaccine, right? It was available to everyone in the public. You could choose to get it or not to get it, and it would cure death. But you could also get it reversed
If you choose to die.
if you choose. If you,
I
yeah,
don't see
you,
the harm in that.
So say you've already lived like 400 years, and like, okay, I'm okay with dying now. So you go and get it reversed.
I know.
And then from the point that you got the
shot.
So like say you were like a 25-year-old and you got the shot, you would then age from then on, from 25.
Like
your years
like
would catch up
like
to
a
you.
normal
Okay.
lifespan, yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I think that could be abused, like by people in power and people that aren't in democracy. Like I think that if Kim Jong-un were to use that, like his reign would last forever.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's what I'm saying. Like reserved for certain people, or
I don't think it should be reserved for certain people.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Yeah.
Because well, first of all, the reserved for certain people just means for the rich. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like people who have money are gonna get it, and those are the only people that are gonna get it.
The interesting though, because I was reading something about this, and this person was theorizing that if there was some vaccine, no matter what, it would be available to the public, because there would be someone who would give loans for that, right? Because think about it: if it was $1 billion for this vaccine to live forever,
it will be paid back.
It will be paid back, right? You're gonna live forever, so it doesn't matter how much the debt is.
Tax it as much as you want.
Yeah. But I like that question though. How long should we live?
Yeah.
What if it was just like, a vaccine that gave you an extra certain amount of years rather than make you live forever?
Oh, and you have to go back to get more?
Yeah.
That's like that one movie. What was that movie where their currency was their lifetime?
Oh.
It was with Justin Timberlake.
Like it's called
In Time.
Oh, In Time.
Is it In Time?
Oh,
okay.
no, it's called Watch.
No.
You said Watchmen?
No, Watch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Funny thought.
I'm going to be thinking about this all night. I'm going to go create it.
The one thing I think about when I hear that about, curing death, it's like, why do we need to do that?
Just to have more time.
Just to say that you did it, I guess.
More freedom.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Would the offspring of people who live forever just automatically have it and would never need to get the vaccine again or something like that?
It's a good question. It would be cool to live forever just to be able to experience more things. Like I know for one thing, when it comes to like your career, right? It feels very permanent because you only have so much time. So it's like, okay, I have to make the right choice because I can't do it all, It'd be pretty cool to like, I'm going to dedicate the next 30 years to this. Then the next 30 years, I'll try something else. The next 30 years, I'll do something else,
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I asked that question because is it a lack of time or is it a lack of motivation?
For people?
For people to change.
To do the things that they want to do.
I think it depends on the person, honestly.
Yeah, but I'm saying that because there are people out there that are willing to take their lives in their hands and go and live their life fully to how they feel they need to.
I think it's a lack of security. Like, people are like, if I do this, I won't have my job when I come back, or I won't have enough money to live after this.
Yeah.
I know that's what my fear is with traveling. It's like, I'm not going to have any money after this.
Because I know for me, like, I think a lot about time just because there's a lot of things that interest me. And I always catch myself saying, like, oh, in another lifetime, it would have been fun to pursue this. Because I know I wouldn't have the time to do both or all three of the things that I like, you know. And another thing, too, like, when it comes to traveling, I would love to, when I finish my degree, just go and travel for a couple years. But then it's weighing, like, okay, would I rather travel or just get started my career as soon as possible, knowing that the sooner I start, the better chance I have of moving up. See,
my thing is like, because I wanted to travel when I graduated with my undergrad, but I'm like, but then no program is going to want to take me in, because why did you take such a long break? Like, what are you doing? Why aren't you dedicated to this?
Yeah.
And that was my fear. That's why I didn't go travel after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it would just depend on the person. Well, now that, that we have a finite life, you would have to weigh between what would mean more to you, would traveling for a couple of years mean more to you when you're on your deathbed, or would starting your career early mean more to you? So for me, that it would be traveling.
Well, one thing too to remember is it's not always like a black or white decision. you know, I think that was
There's
the conclusion
layers.
I made. Is just like, okay, I could start my career and make sure I give myself the freedom to travel at least once a year, you know, or twice a year, or yeah. I don't know. Interesting. Anyone else have another post? Did you find one, Phil, or you don't have any, Alyssa?
No,
Okay.
I don't have Reddit.
Oh, okay.
It's a website on the internet.
You should consider.
I don't do any type of social media. I've cut myself off from that.
It's more of like a forum.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I see it as kind of like Twitter. I see it like similar to Twitter because people post about it, you know, or similar. Yeah, I just things like that where I can be stuck on the internet for hours on end. I try to stay away from.
Anything that's that distracting.
Yeah,
type of
exactly.
Thing. I see.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, I just came across one.
Okay.
All right, this was from a year ago. If Cardi B
Oh Lord. Here we go.
If Cardi B was a man, we would be boycotting her music and her career would be
That was not
destroyed.
me. I'd like to say that.
That was not me either.
I didn't touch anything. Anyways, why does it say that?
Huh?
Why?
I think it's because of her admitting how she used to rape, or not
She
rape.
used
She
to-
used to drug men and rob them.
What?
In order to get them to take her home to have sex with them and then rob them, and then she would also trick men into sleeping with trans women.
I did not hear about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it was like a live stream on Instagram or a post, but she was joking about it. She's like, yeah, I did it all the time. And she was laughing about it.
I think that, you know, like as of right now, I don't even see a difference between men and women. I would have her, like, you know, put in jail for that.
Yeah.
That's wrong. Just no matter what gender you are.
I think this is something that a lot of people are aware of. One thing, a lot of people don't take sexual assaults against men seriously.
No. Even men don't, especially men don't
Yeah.
take it seriously. Like,
Yeah.
like if you were to go tell your guy friends, be like, come on, man, but like, was it good?
I think, yeah. So, I mean, I'm not surprised. I would love to have it be fair. You know what I mean? I don't care what the fuck is in between your legs. If you do bad shit,
If you drug someone,
yeah.
you should
Yeah.
be punished
Male or
for that.
woman, if you're a bad person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you deserve to be punished.
Yeah.
Do you think she was judged lighter because of who she is? Like if a normal person were to do that, do you think they'd get put in jail?
Yeah, and I don't even know if it's necessarily just like, I don't think it's because she's a woman necessarily that she's getting that
The treatment she is.
Yeah, because I mean, man, we all know the fucking shit Chris Brown has done. You know what I mean? And this guy still has a successful. I'm still surprised that he's still successful and prominent in our society. Like,
I didn't even know he was.
he still is, man. Like,
Yeah,
he's
I
still
haven't-
releasing music. He's still having a successful music career. You still see people on Twitter saying, "Oh my God, Chris Brown," blah blah blah. I'm like, really? Still?
It was the same thing with R. Kelly. Have you
Yeah.
guys?
Same
Did
thing
you guys
with R.
watch that
Kelly.
documentary?
I haven't yet, but I've heard, and I mean, there's rumors. There was stuff going around about
Forever.
him forever. Yeah, I remember since we were kids, you would hear stuff about R. Kelly loves to pee on people and stuff like that.
No, but like
Trapped in a cupboard, bro.
Yeah,
but in the documentary, the people were saying like it's hard to you have to be able to separate the person and what they did and from their
Like
art that they
persona.
created. No, from the
Yeah.
art that they created. You know, it's like people have attached memories to the music or to whatever it
Yeah.
is. And like their good memories are attached to that song. It's like they're not gonna automatically erase that because the person behind it did something bad.
Yeah.
So I think that's sorry.
It's hard for me to do that with Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
To
Yes.
separate yourself or
Separate myself. I mean,
Yeah.
his music's great,
yeah.
but I mean, he very well could have been a child molester.
I said this when we were watching
Surviving R. Kelly.
Surviving R. Kelly. There's I think a moment where they're talking about his music, and one of the people that are like there for the interview are saying, you know, like I can separate the terrible person that he is from the art that he has created. You know, even in like history, I'm sure there's been famous artists that were known for like sleeping with little boys or being pedophiles themselves.
Like
I can do
known racists. And, yeah.
I can do the same thing with Michael Jackson, whether it's, you know, real or not. You know, I can separate his art because I love his music.
Yeah.
You know, but him as a person. I don't know who he really is or what he's really done.
I don't have to like you as a person to enjoy what you've done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like R. Kelly's music is fucking great, and I'll admit it.
I think I think for me, it's not so much about that. It's more that like they do their action. It's like if R. Kelly was still making music and was still successful, even in jail after everything did. Like that's a little weird to me.
I think that's.
It might just be I'm not. Yeah. I might just not be that good at separating the people from the art. It might just be that. But because for me, it's like if I'm partaking in that, then I'm supporting this person.
That's what most of the arguments were in Surviving R. Kelly, which, I understand. But at the same time,
like that whole movement was mute R. Kelly. Like, companies shouldn't be able to get, he shouldn't be able to make any money off of the music that he created because of what he had done. I don't necessarily agree with that.
I see what you mean.
Like, if you were to, one of the greatest bands, of all time, the Beatles, like if we were to find out that one of them, kind of did similar things to R. Kelly, the world is not going to boycott that band.
Yeah, not fully.
It's never going to happen.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
I'm looking up something right now.
I have another one. I think this is a very good one.
Sure.
Change my view. Instead of teaching youth to not judge, we should be teaching them how to judge with kindness, mercy, logic, and fairness. Let me start by explaining what I mean when I say judge in this context. I'm a father of a 5-year-old girl. As anyone who's spent a lot of time with babies and young children, I want to help guide her through life and give her tools to interpret the world around her. When we see a child behaving very poorly in public, there are times when I choose to speak with her about what's happening. At the onset of this moment, when we are going to voice our thoughts about the behavior of others, whether it's my daughter and I, you by yourself in your head, or anyone in really any circumstance, we are entering a judgmental space by its literal definition. Any way to frame or speak about someone else's actions requires judgments to be made. Our society has made the world judgmental have strong negative connotations, and I believe people are uncomfortable with using others as teaching opportunities for fear of being judgmental. Here's an example of what I'm talking about. Daughter and I see a child screaming in the market, jumping up and down, creating a massive scene, hitting her parents, etc. I'll ask my daughter, "Why do you think they're being so terrible?" I insert the view I'm teaching that the behavior is terrible, so judgment is made. But being a dialogue, normally she'll say they're mad or something like that, and we'll talk about things that make us mad, what might have this other child mad. I'll say something like, "I get mad, you get mad, everyone gets mad sometimes. It's okay to be mad, but not how we act. But that's not how we act when we're mad, right?" It keeps going on, but I think this is a good way to teach your children that there is ways to pass judgment, but not in a, destructive kind of way or a negative context.
That's exactly what constructive criticism is. I mean, so I'm a childcare teacher, and I use constructive criticism all the time with my kids. Like, I won't go as far as like calling something another person did terrible, like what that dad did. I'm like, why do you think they're being so awful? I would never do that. It's just, like, why do you think they're acting the way that they are? Yeah, I wouldn't.
I mean, I think it's important to put it in that context, because if that was a grown person hitting another grown person, that would be considered a terrible thing, right?
Yeah, but I mean, it does go by culture.
But I think throwing a tantrum in a market and hitting someone should be classified as terrible. And teaching your child that is important, because if they have that in their mind, that doing something like that is terrible regardless of what age you are, that leads them to grow up to know that that's not what I should be doing or acting.
There are ways to redirect their thinking. Like with the way that I talk to my kids, I'll ask them like where they stand on what happened. And then, if they say something like, it's just because they wanted to, I'll kind of like redirect that conversation into like, do you think they should be doing that? Because like, here's why I think it's bad. And, I'll make it a dialogue, but I won't like actively call out the other kid for what they're doing. I'll just like let the kid know like subtly that I disagree with what happened.
Yeah. I think there's definitely, like, in terms of a kid and tantrum, there's definitely a better word you could use besides terrible.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think a kid is going to realize, you know, because, like, murder's terrible and all that shit. And if they can distinguish that, that's cool. But
All right.
distinguish two terribles, you know? Because if he just learns that a tantrum is terrible and then murder is terrible.
They're equal, yeah.
So, but what I also think is a valuable lesson or a valuable thing that you should teach your kids is that you will be judged.
Yeah.
No matter what.
I think you should teach them how to deal with criticism.
Yeah. Because people would give constructive criticism all the time, but it's never taken as it is.
As constructive.
Right. Yeah, as constructive.
Like
people get angry.
You're making fun of me or you don't like.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like what he said. It's judgment being passed and we have a negative view on it.
I think it's just the way that it's presented.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing.
But just teaching them, like, yeah, people are going to judge you. It has nothing to do with you, right? It might have been just the way they were raised.
Mm-hmm.
But if someone judges you and you get the opportunity to explain yourself, then explain yourself, and you know what I mean?
I don't know. I think that the way that the father presented that, like, why do you think that kid is being so terrible? It's kind of like it's taking away the kid's independent thought on what happened. Is if my dad says this is terrible, like anything relating to this, because, you know, kids associate. That's how they build schemas and whatnot in their mind. Like, if anything like I see like that is terrible, like, you know, like martial arts will be like bad. Like any type of hitting will be bad. You know, even it's for sport or anything. It's like, I think it takes away their independent thought.
I could understand that, but I mean, what if then the child sees a professional fight and the child asks the dad, you know, I thought you said this was terrible.
How do you...
Isn't that then the dad's responsibility to then say, no, this is what this person does professionally to get paid for?
I think that, you know, dealing with children and like having to try to explain different concepts to them in a way that they can understand, it's very hard. Like, speaking to 5-year-olds is not like speaking to, you know, you guys can understand what I'm trying to explain. But a 5-year-old is like, but you said fighting was bad. I don't get it.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Raising kids scares the fuck out of me. I tell you that.
Yeah.
Like, because I don't want to say that. I don't want to be this guy, right? Whether his view is right or wrong, you know, obviously up to people to decide that. But I don't want to say that. Like, say, like, me and my kid are watching some kid throw a tantrum, and I tell him, like, well, why is he being so terrible? Why do you think he's being so terrible? And that morphs into like him thinking that UFC is terrible. And then that him thinking that he can't defend himself, he shouldn't hit other people. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to say one thing and then it just turns into all these things. I'm like, fuck. Well, I shouldn't have said that one. You know, and I didn't even intend for that to happen, right? Because kids are so easily malleable. I just that scares the shit out of me.
I think the one thing we're focusing on too much is the word that he used when he goes on to explain that it's okay that you get mad, I get mad, you get mad. There's better ways to deal with it than throwing a tantrum and and acting the way you are, hitting your parents.
That's the thing. I wouldn't label it a certain adjective. I would just describe it as what it is. Why do you think that child is throwing a temper tantrum?
Listen, I didn't read this post for us to talk about the one word that the dad used. I brought this up so that we can talk about the way this person is deciding to parent their child. This idea that instead of the youth not to judge, we should be teaching them how to judge. That's what this post is about. My
point is just him thinking the act of hitting is terrible. Of him thinking, like, that's my point. Is that he thinks that is bad. Let's not even use the word terrible.
Okay.
You just think that act is bad.
Let's go back to the name of the post. Instead of teaching youth to not judge, we should not be teaching them how to. We should be teaching them how to judge with kindness, mercy, logic, and fairness. That's what the point of this post is about.
I understand that.
The word being used.
I would agree with that, but I would also add that you need to teach them how to accept the criticism. Like, how to not get offended by the criticism.
Yeah. I'm sure at some point in this very long post that this man made that he talks about that. I only skimmed through one example just so that we can all get an idea.
You picked the wrong example.
Well, it's the very first one, so.
That's why it changed my view, right?
Yeah.
I mean, his definitions of all those things could be, a lot different than all of ours, but.
I like that view.
I'm not saying I don't. I mean, I just. Whatever, dude. Fuck kids.
Fuck them kids.
Oh, man.
Fucking cough on them anyways.
They're fucking terrible.
You guys find another one?
Oh, yeah, do you have one or no?
Typical me. Fucking. My phone's on 1%.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, my God.
Oh, Lord. Always on that bullshit.
Do you have another one?
Okay. Do I want to be toxic or not toxic?
Toxic.
Toxic? All right. This one's for you, Phil.
Let's do it.
Change my view. John Wick is trash.
Oh.
I've seen the first movie. Unsurprisingly, plot-wise, it's as generic as it could be. It was directed by a stunt coordinator, after all. But it even fails to deliver thrills and action department. John Wick just shoots people and that's it. No thrill or suspense.
Oh, my God.
It's the way he does it, though.
This person probably has a terrible view on movies.
Yeah.
Like to
Violence.
see the John Wick movies and think that was not a great action-packed movie. Like that's the first bad commentary I've ever heard about that movie or that
Yeah.
genre.
Well,
You watched the one movie that started it all. Watch the second one. Watch the third one.
Yeah. Well, there's a comment that was pretty good, and it's quoting the person saying John Wick just shoots people and that's it. And this person says, "You can simplify any movie like this. It has no bearing on merit. Shawshank Redemption becomes just some guy escaping a prison. Lord of the Rings becomes just some midgets on a journey. Hundreds of movies just become just some people talking. It's a statement that is essentially valueless and disingenuous."
Yes.
Yeah,
Qualitative
exactly.
assessment.
Yes. I think if you're going to critique a movie, it's very important to make your critiques on specific moments of that movie that truly judge them. But to just skim over the movie and just say it's just a movie that doesn't have any action or thrill to it and it's just a guy shooting a bunch of other guys, it's like, okay,
Yeah.
put in context what you mean. Like there's nothing really there that validates what you're saying.
I think that you have to appreciate the genre before you critique it. Because, if I go to a horror movie, all horror movies are probably going to be bad for me.
Yeah.
If you don't enjoy horror movies.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Because there's thousands of movies before John Wick of people shooting people.
Mm-hmm.
But you watch John Wick, you're like, this is different.
Right.
This is something else.
That's, and like I wanted to say that one because I obviously knew we would all disagree.
Yeah.
And I think what I love about John Wick is that it's almost like a dance. Like all the
Yeah.
action scenes,
It's perfectly
there's
coordinated.
Yeah, there's
choreography.
fluidity to it.
Yeah, the
yeah.
choreography is
It's
beautiful.
not
No,
clunky.
And it stands by itself. Like he was trained well. You
Yeah.
know, like in some action movies, you can see that it's fake.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You tell me another, what is he, 45 years old?
Yeah,
He's in
something
his
like that.
40s.
Yeah.
Actor that isn't a stuntman, that takes the time to learn jujitsu, learns
Yeah.
how to tactically use a gun
Yeah.
before a movie so that he can use it in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you don't give me that fucking shitty opinion.
No, he worked. He worked for it.
Yeah.
Dude.
I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like
And-
I truly believe he's an assassin. Like if I see him in real life, I'm like, you're gonna
Oh,
kill
He
someone.
knows how to use a gun for sure.
Oh yeah.
But
yeah,
if
definitely.
you look in the second movie, I think he found plenty of ways to kill people without a gun.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
It's-
Yeah.
the fucking pencil.
I don't know. I've never seen him.
What
Never seen.
movie
What
night?
is it?
Dude, I don't know if that's me or not.
I think. Yeah, it is you.
But
The-
I
the
feel
tape-
like it's this.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna take this off. I don't know why it's making this sound.
Yeah, I was like, who's?
Thanks,
like,
James.
shit.
Anyways.
Dude, man, I can never
Always
win,
making
bro.
the noise.
Can never win.
Okay, just pause.
I can't tell if I'm loosening it or tightening it.
No, I'm gonna let all the people have to
Endure this?
Yeah, listen to this.
It's okay.
And
You
just
can-
know it was him.
You can let all 8. You
It was
can
him.
let all 8 of them listen to this.
4 of them are us.
Jesus.
Oh my god.
All right, all better now.
We're real fucking professional over here. What was your non-toxic one?
Oh, you want to hear my non-toxic one? Okay.
That wasn't that toxic. That just upsetted me. A little.
Okay, here's my non-toxic one. Religion is bullshit. If you're religious, you're living a sham. do you want to hear more?
It's pretty toxic.
There's so much in here.
I just came across one that's also about religion.
About religion. Should we discuss religion?
I think we all.
All right, let me read mine real quick.
Okay.
It says, just like sex education, religion should be introduced to children only after they have reached a certain age and level of maturity.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Well,
I don't know. It's, like, in some cases, religion has helped children understand, like deaths of a loved one or stuff like that. It's like, I'm going to tell my kid they're going to a better place. They're going to heaven. So I think that, like, that certain age thing, maybe not.
maturity, yeah.
But should people only view religion as a coping mechanism? Then is that being introduced in the wrong context?
I genuinely think that's what religion is. It's how they cope with
purely
life.
just a coping mechanism.
I disagree when it comes to like Christian views. I think a lot of the views that Christianity instills is a lifestyle, and the stories they tell in it and the lessons that come from it are them trying to say, this is what you need to do to be a better person and live a good life. And I think that's the importance of Christianity. It's not about just being a coping mechanism. I think it's also something that helps people have something, because at certain points people lose everything that they have, they own, everything they loved, but they turn towards religion, and it's something that helps them get through those times.
That's what I'm saying. It's like a coping mechanism.
Yeah, I guess.
That's how they get through difficult times.
Yeah.
I mean, like, so, both of my parents were raised Catholic, and I guess they raised me to be Catholic, but they always told me that it was my choice on if, like, this is what I want to believe in. And I think giving or letting children know, like, this isn't the only thing to believe in. Like, there are other ways to think of the situation. I think that would be beneficial for the children.
I think the thing for me, I feel like I can't take away from anyone's belief that there might be more, that there might be an afterlife, or there might be some type of force there that gives them strength. I feel like that's something you can't really argue because we aren't able to disprove it, right? But my issue with organized religion is that it's just so illogical, and it's so contradictory, hypocritical. And when I'm thinking purely logically, it's hard for me to comprehend that there's these politicians who are grown people, grown adults, who have tremendous influence over our lives, and they genuinely believe there's a man in the clouds with a beard saying, like, no, you can't do that because it's a sin. If you have sex before marriage, you're a sinner and you're going to hell. Like, you're an influential person who believes, like, it's just so illogical to me.
I don't know. I think just the inconsistency of some religions, like, you'll have the Pope saying one thing, and then all the priests in the churches will, like, say other things, like gay marriage is okay, and then different people with whatever they believe within the same religion will preach something different. I think the inconsistency is bad.
Or molesting little children.
Or that, or the fact that consciously things have been changed in modern day religion, Christianity and Catholicism, because they're losing their market, because they're losing too many followers, and they say, okay, we got to change this because obviously people don't agree with this, so we got to change it. Does that not invalidate your religion? You know what I mean? I
don't know. You brought up a good point. Like, Christianity does teach you to, like, be a good, kind person. It teaches
morals.
Yeah, no, but I think that, like, you don't need to teach there is a God and you should be doing this for the God. Like, I think, just
but there's
teaching,
other ways to learn morals.
Than teaching people just religion. To be good and kind. And, like, other people will believe what they believe. And, if they hear something that attracts them, I think they should be free to go down that road as they please. Rather than your parents are forcing you into this religion. This is the only thing you can believe in.
I think what bothers me is that people are casting judgment on others off something that they can't prove and something that's illogical. I think that's what bothers me, is that we're taking something that's spiritual or that's supposed to be very personal, and we're making it have a real impact, not on ourselves, but on others. I think that's what bothers me.
I think what bothers me a lot is when people say, oh, it's all part of God's plan. It's like, oh, so we're gonna write off all the other variables that may have come across to get me to this point in life.
And that's hypocritical right there. Yeah. If you follow their belief of, okay, God is supposedly just, omnipotent, and all-knowing, that's so contradictory, because if God is just, why would he knowingly make the decision to make you suffer to learn some lesson?
I don't know. And I hate
but
when
he has all the power. He could just have you understand that lesson if he's omnipotent. And people will say, oh, well, that's because of free will. Well, if he knew that free will would bring all this suffering, then is that just?
Yeah,
is
exactly.
that just? It's circular logic. It doesn't make sense. Like,
I don't like when people use religion to justify their bad actions as well.
Yeah.
Like, no, you did something wrong. Don't believe, well, God told me to do this. No, God didn't tell you to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Personally, I wouldn't push anything on my child if I can't prove it. But I think what a lot of people who believe in religion are lacking is just a bit of cynicism. I feel like they need to be able to hold a belief in the belief in their mind that this may not be.
Yeah, they need to be skeptical.
What it is.
When
Yeah.
people take things too literal, like the word of God too literal, I think that's when it becomes a problem.
Yeah, like this may not be real. Other people believe that it's not real. But I think that also allows them not to push it on their children.
Yeah,
is when they have a bit of skepticism towards their own thing that they believe in. I mean, that's perfectly healthy. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it doesn't. To me, it doesn't make sense. And I probably will think like that for forever till I die. But you know, I used to have a real problem with people who believed in religion, but I don't anymore, because if it makes you a better person, by all means, that's none of my business. If it stops you from being an addict, if it makes you treat others with the same respect as you treat yourself or other people, by all means go. Because, you know, I also don't have a say in where you learn your morals. Like, yeah, morals should be
universal.
able to be universal, and you shouldn't have to learn it from religion. But if that's where you learn it from, then hey, at least you have them now, right? And you know that when you didn't have them doesn't matter. But yeah, I wouldn't. Even if I was Christian, I wouldn't force my kid to go to church. I would have them make the decision consciously. Like, do you want to go?
Yeah. Question. You brought up, politicians. So the question popped in my mind is like, for politicians who take a religious standpoint, do you think that they're abusing the fact that so many people believe so truly in their religion? Like, do you think that they use their platform to speak to manipulate others into following them or voting for them?
Yes.
Yeah, I definitely think so.
And I would say with Trump, because I think that's a big point in a Republican's agenda anyways.
But like, do you think that politician truly believes in what he's preaching, or is only using that as a platform?
No, because there's a lot of politicians that are against gay marriage, but they will be for gay marriage because of their political affiliation. And
or you'll see the opposite, where they'll be against gay marriage and then they get caught up in some scandal. It's like, oh, they were actually gay this whole time.
So they definitely, and the religion is the easiest thing to be able to manipulate when you're a politician.
Well, politicians manipulate.
Well,
everything.
yeah. But because there's people who there's certain people in my family who the only reason they're voting for like a presidential nominee is because of God and religion.
Oh.
So, and that's the sole purpose. So. Definitely, it's easily, definitely do that.
Did your phone die, Andy?
Did it? No, it's good.
Did you? Oh yeah, because you were looking for one, right?
Yeah.
Did you find it or no?
This one's funny because I did this in like the past 3 years. It says big cruises do more harm than good, and the planet is better off if the industry dies or is overhauled.
I agree.
Big cruises.
Yeah, like cruise ships.
They pollute way more than
More
like,
than
you can imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, they use so much oil.
Mm.
So much oil.
I'm just afraid of the ocean. Like,
you know, me too. I don't like the ocean. Not a fan.
no, like I just you like one of the thoughts that I had never thought. Like Philip had brought it up. It's that cruise ships, you know, can be capsized by waves. Like I never would have thought like a wave can take down this massive ship, and so that terrifies me.
They've taken down plenty.
Like, and then he made me watch videos of it.
Or like, what blows my mind is the majority of people who go on cruises is not because they're like, I want to be on the water, you know, I want to do these water activities. It's like I just want to lounge around, have a buffet, and get drunk.
Yeah,
it's like, dude, just go to Vegas. Like, you don't need to
be on a ship.
Be
in the
on a
middle
ship,
of nowhere.
Andy. No,
no, it's like I hate that.
With
cruise
that being
ships,
said, I would be down to go on one.
no, but like, you know, I think it's stupid that cruise ships have a pool because it's like you're surrounded by water.
Yeah. So
when I think it's like a social status, like it's just to say I've been on a cruise ship.
Definitely an experience.
Yeah.
If you really want someone to swim, just like have like an attachment off the cruise ship that goes into the seawater and have
like
that
a net.
seawater.
Just have like a net
that is
drag.
your pool.
Right?
Yeah. Let me tell my experience. So this is before my knowledge of.
It's like carbon footprint.
Yeah, like that cruise ships are, you know, just bad for the environment all around. You know, in terms of pollution and climate change too. So it was fun. it was great, you know, but I think I could do without it on the basis that I don't want to, you know, now that I know all this information, I don't want to make the world
what drew you to wanting to go? What attracted you to it?
I had never been on a cruise before. I guess I have never been on a big ship.
Was it?
Well, it was a cruise ship.
It
went to Ensenada.
Were you an adult or a child? Like,
no, this was like 2 years ago. 3 years ago.
This was
Let me ask you this. What if instead of it being the ship that you went on to, it was just like a wooden boat? There was no alcohol.
Fucking
there were
Noah's
no
Ark.
clubs. Nothing like that. Like, you're just on a fucking wooden boat.
Would you enjoy that?
Like all the way to Ensenada?
Yeah.
No, it's not what I'm paying for.
Like pirate ship. Yeah. What if you're on a pirate
at the end of the day, it was fun. You know, I was there with my brothers, and like we had a good time. You know, obviously drinks.
Would you do it again?
That's a good question.
Do you think part of it though? Because this is what I'm trying to understand. I think part of it might be because
there was. Sorry, I don't mean to call you off, but there was also a casino on there. You know,
right. like this is what I'm
addict.
thinking. This is what I'm thinking. Like, because you could do all the things you did, you could do in Vegas.
Yeah, no, I could
right?
definitely do somewhere else.
But is it the fact that like when you're there, like it's all you pay your money, you go, you know what you're gonna get. You don't have to worry about traveling. Like everything's there for you. You know, that's what I'm thinking. Maybe that's what it is.
It's just experience, you know, because I could say that about a lot of things. You know what I mean? Like, why do I go to this Walmart instead of that Walmart? You know,
but
why do I go to this Target instead of that Target?
But dude, we need to be more aware of that. You know, that's what the elite are banking on. They're pulling on those strings to get us to think that way.
I don't mean to dismiss that cruise ships do destroy, you know, a lot of shit in their path.
What if it was a cruise ship that rather than sailing like from place A to place B?
Dude,
what the hell is that?
Okay.
Anyway, sorry.
What if it wasn't a cruise ship that sailed from place A to place B? It was a cruise ship that literally just went a mile off the coast. So you're still in the water, turned all its engines off, and then just sat there. You could still enjoy everything.
You didn't go anywhere,
and you didn't, you know, pollute as much as you would have having traveled across the world.
Yeah. So I'd be okay with that too.
But what if instead of
would it be the
it's just
same
a
experience
big warehouse? It's just a big ass warehouse
that they say is in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah, and they have everything there. You know.
Yeah. I don't know the answers to these questions. But I would be okay. Yeah, I would be okay if it just went like a mile or two off the coast. Because I could just drive to Ensenada. You know, I don't need to go there
on a big old ship.
Right?
If you had $1 billion, would you buy your own personal yacht?
That's a good question. I don't have.
Yeah,
an answer
baby,
to.
I would.
All right.
But it'd be really.
It'd be like the Prius of boats.
It would run. It would run off use like oil.
Vegetable oil.
Yeah, use vegetable oil.
It'd be water powered.
It'd be a Tesla yacht.
But
It'd be water powered. That's just a fucking. That's just a shit, bro. That's just a sailboat.
Sailboat.
Yeah, wind powered.
There we
What's that?
To get a big ass paddle.
Is it hydroplaning where they're skimming
car?
on, or no? What's the process where they're skimming on the water?
Of like a car?
Is it a flyboat or it?
I don't know what the process, like the name of the process is, but it's where the boats or whatever craft it is. It's a boat, but they skim on the water. They use, I think, aerodynamics that catch the air and it skims on the water.
Yeah, so
But they're big boats. They're not just like small little sails or anything.
I forgot what it's called, but
skimmers.
when I went to
Sounds
Catalina,
familiar.
when I went to Catalina Island, I was on.
So
one
you've
of
been
them.
on multiple boats.
Yeah, I'm just a shit person, dude. But
You probably killed like 3 polar bears in your lifetime, Andy.
A couple penguins.
Yeah.
well,
Fuck
I've been there.
Should have evolved better.
No, but like being on the water, I think it gives you a different perspective. Like, I don't know, because that's what the Earth is. You know what I mean?
Majority.
Okay.
It's majority of water, but
Yeah.
we're
so
you know what I mean?
detached
We're
from
so
it.
detached from that.
When
that-
you were on the boat, did you think, "Oh, this is so cool because I'm surrounded by water"?
yeah, because this is what, like, if someone came to the Earth, this is what the Earth would be. Because it's like what 70.
There would most likely land
yeah, right?
on water.
Okay.
This is
Yeah.
what water is. I mean, this is what the Earth is, right?
Okay.
Yeah,
But
but
we're-
they say 70%.
The fact that we're on land and that's all we know, obviously, but it was just weird. It was just weird to think that this is actually the Earth, instead of also the land. Don't get me wrong, but this is what it is.
Try not to upset the land people.
Yeah, them humans are spiteful, huh? But I would say it's a really cool experience. But I don't know if I would go on one again, to be honest.
Is it kind of like a one and done type thing?
Yeah, I mean, just knowing that it is very harmful, and just all the trash that they fucking spew out.
What?
Yeah, they spew a lot of trash out from those cruise ships.
Oh, I didn't know that.
There's parts of the ocean that is just covered in trash.
Dude,
Yeah.
there's garbage islands.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're literally
Yeah.
just floating through the oceans.
So I mean, like, just thinking back on the fact that I had something to do with that. Obviously not intentionally, but
Indirectly.
yeah, it's just,
It's
Yeah.
not just cruise ships either. It's shipping.
cargo ships.
Yeah,
Mhm.
cargo ships.
Mhm.
Like, those are the worst.
Yeah.
But then again, it's all the stuff that we use as
Ordering-
consumers.
Yeah, that's the thing is,
I think
you can't
everyone
get
should
away from
become
it.
more self-sufficient.
I think we're moving towards that, honestly. We're all becoming more aware of our impact on the environment. There's a lot of progress being made towards sustainability.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one thing. I think a lot of people have a very cynical view on it. I feel very positive about that. I think we're moving in the right direction. And I wouldn't be surprised if within our lifetime we start reaching a point where we're really sustainable.
could that be profitable?
Sustainability? Definitely. Definitely.
I think we should go back to
I think
bartering.
Definitely be profitable.
I think that'd be the determining factor.
R&D, dude. Research and development.
Yeah,
The people are going to want these solutions,
because like if you have a self-sustaining car,
It's cheaper to fuel.
yeah.
I mean, we'll
But-
never have something that's... I think based on physics, we can't. We'd have to get rid of, like, friction, right?
Yeah, but what if you have like a solar-powered car?
I mean, yeah.
Mhm.
But then that's the next question. Is creating the battery sustainable?
Are you going to use up the sun?
Yeah. Are you gonna use it? But I think that is that is the solution, right? Is to those limitless supplies of
Yeah.
energy. Limitless in our sense.
We should really try, nuclear
Solar.
power.
Nuclear power?
Nuclear is actually
It's the
way more
cleanest.
clean than people realize. Yeah.
It's just dangerous if used,
Yeah.
or if handled improperly.
The 60s put a sour taste in our mouth. But
Yeah, or if you're the Russians.
Yeah.
Chernobyl. They fucked that shit up.
It is what it do.
What?
What about like the
Or
Japanese?
the
What it do,
Japanese,
Yugi?
I was
too.
about to say the Japanese. How do they feel about it?
Yeah.
Hey man, that was
Well,
that's fucked up, bro.
not
That
just
wasn't their fault.
Not just
The
that,
fuck-
but also that
That was
nuclear.
Mother Earth, bro.
Not their fault.
They didn't They didn't throw that fucking wave at themselves.
That nuclear plant too.
Yeah.
That fucking
Yeah.
melted down.
By nuclear power, I didn't mean. Never mind. Let's just move on.
All right.
You didn't mean the fucking bombs that were dropped?
Did anyone have? Oh, is that what you were talking about?
Well, that's nuclear power, no?
Bro, I did not know that's what you're talking about. That's even more fucked up.
I totally thought that's what you were talking about. I have one. If 18-year-olds aren't trusted to buy alcohol, they shouldn't be trusted to vote.
Yes.
I remember reading that. Yes. And the argument isn't that 18-year-olds shouldn't vote. The argument is that 18-year-olds should be allowed to buy alcohol, right?
I didn't read the fucking thing.
Okay, I think that's what the argument was. You know, I think it's ridiculous. I think that our society babies the youth a little too much.
Yeah.
Because you see a lot of... I know in Europe, I think I'm correct, but most countries in Europe do not have middle school. So you go up to like 10th grade, and then from there you start going to like college or like prep or like some other step where... and another thing too, I think a lot of European countries, they still have like boarding schools.
Mm-hmm.
Where like once you go to high school, you're like traveling somewhere and you're dorming somewhere. You're not just at home.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
No, our society totally babies.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, you know, in Europe, they have less of a drinking problem, you know, like less like DUIs because they're allowed to drink, you know, under their adult age. And we severely baby our population.
I think there's other variables to that too. I think public access or transportation is more prevalent.
Oh,
yeah, it's
public
like
transportation.
there are
That's
so many
true.
things we can do, but I hate that in America you have to be certain ages past the legal adult age to do certain things. Like you can't rent a car until you're 25.
Yet you're an adult at
But
18.
you're an adult and you know you passed your 21. You're able to drink. You're able to do everything at 21 except rent a car.
Yeah.
Like if you're an adult, you should be able to do the things that come with being an adult.
Yeah.
Like if that's the age, if that age isn't good enough for you, then change the age.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that you could go to war before you could drink
Exactly.
is kind of a...
You could kill a person legally before you could drink.
Mm-hmm.
What is that, bro? You
It's
know,
America.
that's one thing I wish
This is America.
It would be kind of cool if we did have like boarding schools.
Oh,
I mean, I know
love
they're still
that.
here, but it'd be an interesting experience.
Do we have
going
boarding
through high
schools
school.
in America?
We do. I know it was. I
so.
think I know they're more prevalent in the East Coast than on the West Coast, and I only know that because I've read a couple of books where that was like where the protagonist was like in a boarding school for high school or whatever. And there's bad ones too.
Bad boarding schools?
Yeah, like where you send all the troubled kids. But
Juvenile
that'd be,
detention center.
imagine how much you would have grown up. You know what I mean? If in high school it's like, all right, mom and dad, like,
Peace out.
yeah, I'm gonna go take care of myself now.
I think I've said it like
Sink or swim, bro.
2 episodes in a row now. Our education system is shit, and it needs to be revamped.
Have
Yeah,
you talked
definitely.
about how they relabeled things?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
like
subjects.
math classes.
Oh yeah,
Math 1.
Math 3. Yeah, what the?
I
What are you
tried-
learning?
No.
That's what my little brother told me.
Yeah.
Math 5.
He
No.
tried. He
What the
asked me
fuck is
for
Math
tutoring
5?
in Math 5. I said, "What the fuck is Math 5?" He goes, you know, it's a little bit of geometry, a little bit of algebra." So I go in to try to help him. It's trigonometry. It's literally nothing of what he had expressed to me, and these kids don't even know what they're learning.
Yeah. Well, I remember talking to him. I think he was in Math 3 at the time. I remember asking him like, "Oh, what are you learning? Or what math class?" And he said like Math 3. I'm like, "Oh, are you learning algebra, is it pre-cal, geometry?" He's like, "I don't know, it's just Math 3."
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
And it's like, you know, you would think that the books would like, even, you know, if it's a Math 3 book, it'll tell you like, this is the algebra section.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No, it's just, here's some problems.
It really sucks. It really sucks because I don't want to get too much into it. Change my mind.
I think that we just don't want to put in the effort to change our education system.
It's not a priority.
Yeah,
Not at
it's not. For some reason, whenever someone new comes into the political landscape, it's different genres of what's important.
Yeah.
Like, remember when we were talking about ISIS?
Mhm.
We don't talk about ISIS no more. They're
That's
still
true.
over there. What
That's
about
true.
North Korea? Remember when it was a bigger problem?
Yeah.
When Trump first became president? We don't talk about that no more.
Yeah. One thing I'll say with education too, I actually had this conversation with Emily this past week, which is funny.
Is that true?
We were talking. So a lot of people don't think about this. Public education. I don't even know where we're ranked in the world, but we're not
We're not
We're
high.
not high.
Last
We're not
time
competitive.
I checked, we were like 35.
out of
I believe it.
36.
36 first world countries. We're bad, okay?
Yeah.
But what's funny though is when you think of secondary education, universities, we are leading.
Mhm.
We are one of the leading
Oh.
countries in the world. And what does that say? I think a lot of that has to say that it comes down to money. Is not that well, obviously our country doesn't care to a certain extent about our education. They don't care about public education.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because there are private schools for children who you're going to get you're going to get an education that you
Yeah.
cannot get elsewhere in this world,
Mhm.
right? But when it comes to public people who's based off public services, they don't give a fuck about us.
Mhm.
You know?
Yeah.
I think that's it. That's the thing. I don't know if we're ever going to see change.
And it bothers me, man, because it comes down to politics. Because when we
Yeah.
were younger, I think it was when George W. Bush was president. Like, education was a major
Yeah.
political talking point at that
Mhm.
time.
Mhm.
And then it just went away.
Yeah.
Have you guys heard of anything education wise from Joe Biden?
I haven't been listening to Joe
I don't
Biden.
pay attention to that.
Yeah.
I
That
don't
dude
know.
probably forgot what he said.
Because I don't know. I feel like I don't hardly hear. Maybe I just don't pay attention enough. But I don't hardly hear any educational plans from anyone.
There isn't.
I
There
think
isn't,
people
dude.
are just like, like this is like overdone. I think like they're like there's more important pressing topics to talk about. So let's talk about gun rights.
What
and-
it is that the president goes in there and he hires someone that is going to be in charge of
their stances.
planning education, right? They have someone that's in charge of that, and it's solely on them to lead the way.
Mhm.
And it's
Never really works out.
I don't know. It's frustrating.
Joe Biden.
You need to watch that clip
Okay.
of
What?
Yeah.
Andrew
clip?
Schultz. He talks about Joe Biden.
Okay.
It's pretty funny. I have another post, and I've never seen the show, so I don't know. I don't have personal experience with it, but the study that came from it does bother me a lot. The 13 Reasons Why is nothing but glorification of suicide and martyrdom and should never have been made. And there's a study that was taking place that in the month after the release of the show, rates of suicide and suicide attempts jumped 12% in boys and 21% in girls.
Wow.
Wow.
I've never seen the show.
Okay,
Yeah.
I have. I think that it's a good learning tool. For like to see the impact that it can have on children who are already suicidal. They already, suicidal ideation and self-harming. I think it's an important learning tool for them. But for the kids who didn't know that was an option, I think that's why it became so dangerous. But, the show did have disclaimers before every episode and helplines at the end of every episode. It's like, this should not be viewed by so and so. And then for help, for resources, here are numbers, here are websites. They did their duty to make sure that these kids knew that there was help. But yeah, I can see both sides.
That's one thing I never understood. I remember in high school there were so many people who were like it almost seemed like they were in competition to see who's the most depressed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like and that was obviously before that show, like when we were in high school, that show wasn't out. But it's just weird that those people are a lot of teenagers go through that.
I mean,
They want to portray themselves as like broken for some reason.
no, and that's like the whole like emo culture.
Yeah.
Like it's based around being broken. And when we're that age, that's the scene that we're most drawn to because we're so moody.
Yeah.
I mean, I listened to that kind of music. I followed that type of MySpace pages at that point, and
God.
I think it's just because you're so moody, you're like, I have to be broken.
Yeah.
Just to validate this numbers I threw out, this is through the National Institute of Mental Health. So
Yeah.
it's a
It's
a real study.
It's an interesting thing because obviously you can't deny that show was taking advantage of a popular topic in pop culture to create a TV show to make money. That's the whole point.
I don't know. I don't think it meant to take advantage. From watching
think
it,
so?
I think it meant to educate.
if it was meant to educate, then why was it like? Why did they care about profits?
Why
were there
was there
ads?
a season 2?
Okay, so with that being said, you do have to make it a certain level of entertaining to get people to want to watch it. Because when you were in school, did you want to watch the educational videos that the teachers presented? No.
Yeah.
But like
Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Oh my god! Okay, no, exactly. He had an entertainment factor.
Yeah.
He put on a show.
Yeah.
And
that's true,
I
that's
think
true.
that for people to pay attention, it needs to be something that they are drawn to. So I
can see
think that that's why they made a season 1 and a season 2, like to bring this topic to light. I genuinely think that in the making of this, they meant to educate. I think that was their number one
intention.
priority.
Okay.
Yeah,
I could see that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I just wonder, to educate who? Adults or children?
I think the people who are going through those types of emotions, because like junior high and high school are very, very heavy with depression and kids not knowing how to handle it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say it's a hard. I don't know. I don't know if they should have done it the way that it was, because they were in high school, right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of kids go through those emotions, and I feel like they're gonna think that it's okay, possibly to do what the main character or whatever the main character did. And obviously,
She killed herself.
Commit suicide.
I guess the question is, did it glorize it?
Yeah,
right?
glorify it.
it.
I don't think
Glory.
I was trying to find
You're
the
just using that R.
the ending of that.
I just
that
think
word, glorify
I
it.
believe that nothing should be off limits, but I think you have to go about it the correct way. I don't think being in high school, a show about being in high school and being suicidal is right.
Dude, this is my question though.
I don't know, because when you're that age, I feel like you're gonna think it's okay, not only because you don't even know other options.
Okay, so that's the thing. It's so when I was fresh out of high school, I tried to commit suicide, and the last thing that I thought about was how it would have impacted everyone else. The very last thing. I never thought about it until my 20s, and I think that's what the show's main intention was.
I see.
If you're feeling this way, get help, because there's so many people that are going to be affected.
Yeah.
I think ultimately when it comes to things like that, it's an interesting thing to think about in terms of how do you put blame on things that happen unintentionally. Like, what comes to my mind is the game like GTA, right? Obviously, we know you're playing this game and you're doing all this crazy shit. But like, is that company held accountable if people
Are violent?
Yeah, or if they get quote unquote motivated by that game.
Man. I hated that time in history where they were blaming
Video games.
Blaming so much violence on video games, and like video games were getting such a bad light, and now like video games is one of the leading forces in the economy.
Yeah. Dude, like, and I think that's the thing. Should people be able to create art freely and not have to worry about how people are going to interpret it? Like, I think that's the question that's being asked.
I think it's just a freedom that we are able to have in the country we live in.
Because what do you like?
So can you create a big name TV show and it's just like every scene is like kill yourself, kill yourself, kill yourself? You know what I mean?
But I think we need to address that. These shows, there's a board that will pass it or not pass it. Like a group of people. This is not just I've got a show, it's gonna go on the air. People have to
approve of it.
Yeah. And I think
just interesting.
Enough people thought that this was a good enough topic to be put on Netflix or put on a viewing platform.
It's just from those statistics though. I don't think that it was. I don't know. Can you stop that though? Is that like, say that Breaking Bad came out, right? And
did more drug
did meth manufacturing increase?
Well, that or like an increase of meth.
What
if meth production increased after Breaking Bad?
I wonder if anyone did a study on that. I would feel like no one thought of it.
Or like the search engines, like how to make meth. Did that was that more popular?
That had to have increased. Yeah. That had to for sure. People had
is there a right way to go about it
making meth?
No, I think it's just a normal human curiosity to if you see a bad thing that was done, you want to know how it was done. Like if you think of people making bombs, there's shows. I want to know how did they do that?
Yeah.
I think it's just normal human curiosity.
Was there an increase?
There is a post back in 2014. Get the fuck off my screen. I don't want to subscribe.
Dude, I hate that shit.
Fuck. Breaking Bad blamed for shocking rise in crystal meth usage.
See, it's
Watch
just a
the
normal
mics,
human
people.
curiosity.
So then,
No, that was me. Okay, that was not my fault. This shit just went weak and fell.
if that's known, then the people who are making those shows, should they be held accountable for those deaths?
No. No.
You don't think so? I don't think so either.
I think that they should be held accountable if they're saying this is good for you. Like, you know, if they're promoting
being
bad
manipulative.
Hold on.
information.
That's just the title of an article, okay? I have not seen a single thing
Like an actual study done.
of numbers being thrown out by anything that is credible. So
But you would assume that you know.
no, it's the
happened.
Washington Post. I don't believe anything that these fucking
you should start with
these
that.
news articles
Look, I mean, okay,
like the
so
Post.
you know, there's fads with everything. You know, if something becomes popular enough, people are going to be more interested in it.
Yeah, I wouldn't argue that meth use went up or even manufacturing, but I'm
think
pretty
interest
sure
in it.
interest.
Yeah.
I would say so. I would say because that would make me. I'm surprised I haven't Googled that yet. Like, how accurate is the recipe in Breaking Bad, or
Yeah.
like, is that really how you make meth? How do you make meth? Like,
Exactly.
Hold on. This was a rise in the UK. A shocking rise in crystal meth use across the UK and Europe is down to the influence. Oh my god, all these fucking ads. To hit the show, TV show Breaking Bad, a leading academic has warned.
you know, at the end of the day, people are gonna make stupid decisions no matter what you do. Yeah.
Wow.
Which goes into my next change my view post. Most of the American population is ignorant and arrogant. And then they have a bunch of arguments saying why they think that.
Let's read some of them.
Yeah,
okay.
read 'em.
Okay. I'll read through them all. They keep voting establishment candidates based on their quote unquote allegiance to certain parties, not for the benefit of their country. As
Yes.
someone who is not American, I would have voted blah blah blah. Would vote. I don't know who that is. Okay. They think the world revolves around them, which is somewhat true. What happens in America affects the world. Their politics affects the world because their foreign policy, their economy affects the world, etc. This makes a lot of Americans arrogant. They never respect other cultures, specifically when traveling. Many Americans cannot point any country on a map. They are always against immigrants while they are all immigrants. Unless you're an Aboriginal or native, okay, that's a weird sentence. Furthermore, they're responsible for the many refugees because of the wars. They also seem to forget how they acquired the land. And then lastly, a lot of Americans are unable to view other perspectives. America is always right and never wrong. What I don't understand is how they can be fooled again and again by the media. As someone from the outside, this is what I see. And I would like to say, if you read through the comments, they do get their mind changed for some of the arguments.
I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't generalize all of everyone. Like,
Everyone,
I don't care about
yeah.
other countries. Because, you know, if you go to a person in Europe, say, name every single, like, you know, country, or they don't have states, you know, like, name every part of the country, name every part of Europe. Like, they may be able to do that for their you know, continent. If you ask Americans, we may be able to do that for, like, you can name all 50 states. You know, I think it's, you know, wherever wherever you live, you're going to care more about that regardless. That's where you are. That's where you're present.
Yeah, and why Europeans are so easily able to do that, because it's so easy to go into
You can
another
go
country
everywhere.
in Europe.
You can drive.
It's so much
Take a
easier.
train.
Yeah, so of course you're gonna know the neighboring fucking countries
Yeah.
as easier as everyone else.
Yeah.
Of course, you might be able to.
I think that's a bad argument. Yeah.
But I some of those points I do think that, you know, with the voting thing especially.
Oh, yeah.
We vote more so based on our allegiance rather than
morals,
their values,
views,
yeah.
standpoints. Yeah.
yeah, that is 100%.
I will say, I do think I honestly do get caught in this mindset where I think just the overall majority of our citizens are really dumb. Like I just sometimes I really think that, like, oh my god, like, we're a country full of idiots.
I don't think we're
sometimes
dumb. I think we're
that,
ignorant.
yeah,
I think that
do.
there's a
I think so
lot
too.
that we don't teach, or that is not presented to us.
Mm-hmm. I do believe too that we have a very narrow, or the majority of Americans have a very narrow view of the world.
Mm-hmm.
They're not very open-minded to other cultures. They're not very respecting to other cultures, and they do tend to only think that America is like the only thing going on in this planet.
I don't know. I can say the same thing about, France. Like, I've met countless people that have been
True.
to France, and the first thing they say is they were so rude because they knew that we were American. Because we spoke with an American accent, they automatically disliked us.
Yeah.
And I think, like you cannot generalize an entire country saying that we're dumb and whatnot or that your country is so much better.
Yeah.
Because everyone has their biases.
Definitely.
Everyone.
Yeah. And no one's perfect. No country's perfect.
Not at all.
No group of people is perfect. And you're not defined by the group of people that other people put
that you're
you
surrounded
into.
by. You're not,
Yeah.
I don't think France should be being mean to anyone, goddamn losers. But I don't blame them. Trump's our president.
Yeah. Dude, man, do not. One thing that I've come to learn, I took French, and one professor that I had was from France. She was born and raised in France. French people love their fucking art. And if you ever say otherwise to French music, French art, French food, French opera, whatever, they will lose their shit on you, man.
Dude.
They think French people think their art is the best art in the whole world.
I mean, I do think that Americans take a lot of pride in the
French
music.
people.
I think that we take a lot of pride in the music that we produce.
Yeah, that's true. The one thing I wish that we had more of as a country is like a stronger push for people to become bilingual or trilingual.
Yeah.
That's something I wish. I just feel like it would make... I feel like it would open a lot of people's minds.
Yeah, it would decrease the racism and the prejudice that we have.
I think it would.
If we
I
learned
really
about
think
other
it would.
cultures.
And not only that, I think it would be cool. Like, I think it's really cool when... what came to my mind is PewDiePie, right? What country is he from? Sweden?
I think he's Swedish.
He speaks Swedish. His platform is based on English, and his wife is Italian, bro.
And
like
he
that's
learned Italian.
Yeah.
Oh, he did?
Like,
That's cool.
that's so dope. And like, I think all that does is adds to your overall intelligence, adds to your overall understanding of the world,
appreciation,
and to your perspective, because there's going to be certain concepts, certain ideas that are in some cultures and not in others. You know what I mean? Like I know there's a lot of sayings and certain ideas that are part of Mexican culture, and I understand that because it's different because I was raised with that culture, but through the language and through their idioms, you get a sense of that. I don't know. I know we try because it's we all had to take another language in high school.
We didn't have to. It was.
Oh, we didn't have to.
No.
I didn't.
No, it was.
You didn't take another
that's
language?
the thing. It's like it's a choice. In middle school, it was a choice. In high school, you can pick from these electives. You don't have to take this language.
I see.
Yeah.
See, because I know a lot of other countries you're required. I believe they make you learn.
Like in Europe, or in the Philippines, or other countries where English is a secondary language to learn. They push it because the world uses English.
Yeah.
But we are English. We speak English.
So we
like,
think
there's
we don't
no
need
exactly
anything else. Yeah.
Exactly.
I don't know. I think it would be cool. I just wish I was brought up learning more languages.
Yeah.
I think that's what
my dad is trilingual, and I know one language. Between my parents, they spoke 4 languages, and I know 1. So.
Yeah, I don't know.
It'd be cool, man. I just wish I could read like fucking Swahili, bro. Or Arabic or some shit, that'd be cool, man.
Do you think ignorance is an excuse now
No.
with the creation of the internet?
What do you mean?
For the majority of people, no.
I feel like we've talked about this.
Yeah. I feel like at this point,
obviously for people who have internet access, but
yeah,
for people in this country especially.
I think
dude, what
that
blows?
I think that could be said no to certain things. Like it depends on what you're talking about. Because we can use the internet to look things up, but it all depends where you're going to get your information to. Because there could be biases on whatever you are looking up. It's your job to get all the information and make your own opinion on it.
I think schools should promote going to reliable databases to find your information rather than Wikipedia.
Yeah. I just think a class on research should be
for the longest time, didn't they tell us not to go to Wikipedia?
Yeah, we weren't allowed
No,
to
but
use
that's it. When I was in high school, I would get my information from Wikipedia and then just find another website that said something similar and cite that website instead.
Oh, okay.
Or
So-
find your sources.
Yeah, like,
on
this is
Wikipedia.
gonna have-
It blows my mind. They're like
Wikipedia is
Wikipedia is not a
pretty accurate.
Yeah, it's not a credible site. It's like
I think it's just because it's not peer reviewed. I think that's what.
Yeah,
the issue
it's because
is.
you
That's
can just go up
fucking
and edit
ridiculous.
it, but
Yeah.
who's really not the whole website as a whole is not going to be edited every single day. You
Yeah,
know?
there's just too much content.
I think that just shows how ridiculous it is that you have to go through peer review. On
But what
stuff like that.
what's better? What's the alternative?
The problem with peer review though is that you might run into people that go against what you're trying to do or what you're trying
With
to put
peer
out in a study.
With peer review, it has to be proven by data and by science. That's the main.
There's been examples before where people have done that, and because someone is going
They have their
against
own
that,
interests, their own
they have their
special
own
interest.
they completely shred research apart.
I know from in my field, peer review is not sent to just one peer. It's sent to
It's a panel.
a
Okay.
bunch of people, and those notes are all given.
Okay, now what if it's sent to someone of high regard that's considered a very highly professional, and they rip it apart, but there's plenty of credible and factual research in there and data, but because that one person shredded apart, every peer after that does the same thing.
From my understanding, they give feedback as to what they believe is wrong, and that person can then
It's
go
shredding
in.
it apart. That's what I'm saying.
I think regardless though, like one that's a obviously there's a handful of cases, right? But you have to compare how many times that happened versus all the other,
Yeah,
academic journals that have been published.
it doesn't erase the fact that it's a flaw.
It is a flaw, yeah, but it's like that's with anything though, right?
But
that's with anything.
Just that one person opposing it isn't going to prevent that paper from being released. It's not.
Yeah, but it could stop credible what's the word? Sources from releasing that paper, because why would they want to release that?
I think that to be a scientist, to actually believe in that, you would have to find more than just one paper on it. That's the thing. You need to find multiple research articles supporting the same thing. If there's only one, it's not necessarily reliable data.
Or I think for me the biggest thing is, what's the alternative? What else can you do? Like the best thing you could do is have it checked by experts in the same field. You know what I mean?
And if they disagree, you're not an expert.
Yeah,
then
and that's the reality, is that because we're working with humans, it'll never be perfect. There's always going to be bias, but at the same time, who else are you going to check it with?
God.
Yeah.
Reddit.
Until we have our AI overlord that knows everything, we got to rely on other people.
What do you think about Reddit then? Do you get any news from there?
Are you talking to me?
Everyone.
Reddit? I get news from there.
Do you
Do you-
research
do
any
you-
further if you see a headline?
It depends on what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, if it sticks
that's
out
not-
to me, I'll do my own research.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Yahoo News will post Kim Jong Un dead,
Mm-hmm.
and people will be like, "Oh my God, he's dead!"
Yeah.
And
Still
then not
use Yahoo.
my mom. That's her number one search engine.
Yahoo?
Yeah,
What
I
the
don't.
hell?
I don't know why, but she prefers
Bro.
Yeah.
She's like 20 years behind.
it. My mom is almost 60.
Oh, okay. Well,
It says a lot. I'm kidding.
it's definitely hard though, man, because like you'll read stuff on Reddit and you're like, dude, this makes so much sense, and it stops there. You feel like you don't need to do more research.
I think that's a trick, because people can present bad information in such a believable way
Yeah.
that people don't want to look any further.
Or they could take real factual data and manipulate the data, so it's still fact, but it's not
That's like a reality
how you're
TV show
understanding
taking
it.
quotes out of context.
right.
Like, it was said, but you're not getting the full picture.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a 2-minute clip
Yeah.
out of an
Sound
hour-long
bite.
conversation.
Yeah.
Like, let's build the context a little. Let's see
Yeah.
the whole clip.
Mhm.
Do you think that argument is always valid though? If someone
What?
comes to you with an opinion or something that they learned, and they tell it to you, and you say to them like, "Well, is it peer reviewed? Is there peer reviewed studies on it?" Do you think that should always be the answer to someone telling you something?
Is that always a rebuttal?
Yeah.
I think, where did you get this information from? Like, is this something that I can find on my own? Or is this just hearsay?
Because do you think that could be destructive when someone comes to you with something? I mean, in a sense of, if it's not done through like peer revision and there's no journals on it that have been published, is that destructive to always say that?
I guess I don't understand.
I get what you're saying, like, because what you're pretty much asking is, should you always be skeptical unless it's backed by some type of scientific process?
I think you should be skeptical always.
I would say I don't think that's destructive, because you look in human history, we thought the Earth was the center of our solar system for how long?
Time.
For a very long time. You know what I mean? And I don't know, was that information ever peer reviewed? You know, like, or even then, is it? I guess the question is it destructive to always be skeptical? Right?
Yeah,
that's the question.
I always am, dude.
I am. I think I always am too. It's hard for me. It's just because there's been so many times where I hear something and it makes so much sense and I believe it.
Yeah.
Until I see proof stating otherwise, and then I'm like, "What the hell?"
I have it sketched in my brain that if I hear information, go look it up.
Yeah.
See,
and don't just look up one place. Look up every place that you can find it.
You know, so I met you when I was 19, 18, 19. But you were
I was 22
when I first met you.
Yeah.
At the baby shower.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I guess I was 21.
Yeah.
But no, I wasn't.
You were not 19.
I started dating you when I was 21. I was 19. I met you 2 years before we got together. Yes. Anyways, you were the first person to say that you were skeptical about every piece of information you were given. Mm-hmm. And you know, with me, I trust my mom because you know she's highly educated. I'm like, everything my mom said to me, I'd be like, oh yeah, that's the truth. Like if she were to say, if she can come up to me and say, the president died, I'd be like, what? And I wouldn't look into it any further. I'd be like, what happened? She can make up some bogus story, but because I see my mom as a reliable source, I'm like, yeah, that's true. And then, you know,
I remember the first time I realized, like, dude, my parents do not know it all.
Exactly.
So I remember that thinking, like, okay, I better double check the shit they're telling me.
Dude, you can be the president, you can be an astrophysicist, you could be a goddamn expert in whatever field. If you give me some information, I'll be like, you're full of shit, dude. Until I see it, till I know it for fact, I don't believe you. I'm that skeptical. You know, like, I have to see it because
I didn't question my parents' opinions until very late in my life.
Oh man, I don't know when I start questioning mine.
No, but like my point was when you said that to me, that made me think I should start checking things. Like shit.
Or this kid's an asshole.
No, and you know I was like something. You would tell me something, and I'd mention it to my parents, and they'd be like, "Does he really believe in that?" I'm like, guys, he said he's super skeptical about everything, and he researches everything. My mom's like, huh. I'm like, yeah. Like, he knows what he's doing.
I would like to know what you told them.
Oh, I told them like
just so I could remember
every single like interesting fact that you tell me. I
every day I would give her like a little fact of the day.
Oh really?
Yeah.
No, you're the one that told me about Kim Jong-un. I went to my parents. Did you hear? And they're like, my mom was like, no, I didn't hear anything about that. That didn't happen. I'm like, Philip said. Yeah. You know, I very much still believe. I believe everyone's a reliable source. I'm really bad at this.
I didn't have an answer to that question. It's just like you always hear that too much of anything is bad for you. So I was just wondering if too much skepticism could
be bad.
Could lead to.
I think it can make you paranoid.
You know, I think maybe it could be bad because you have to make a decision at some point.
Yeah.
And there might be some questions that you don't know the answer to. Right?
I don't know.
That's where faith kind of comes in.
Do you have to make a decision or can you just settle?
I think in some situations you have to make a decision.
Because I don't think you have to be fully convinced.
It's where the Lord steps in and takes the wheel.
It's like this. Let's say your mom's sick and a doctor comes in. He's like, your mom needs to have the surgery now or she's not going to make it, right? Then what do you do? Oh, whoa. Was that decision peer reviewed? Let me get a panel of doctors for
But some people do that.
No,
some
they do.
People seek out second opinions, third opinions, fourth opinions.
Yeah. But if the life's on the line, that's a decision that you have to make then and there.
The thing. I think it depends on your education in that field.
Yeah. Well, definitely. I mean, of course, if you have knowledge in that field, it's going to change the situation.
The whole idea of... Hold on. Can I say something? The whole idea of surgeons, like...
is to get you to do surgeries.
Not just that, but like the fact that they can go in there, fuck it up, completely kill your loved one, and be just wipe their hands clean at the end of it. Like,
there were some complications.
Time was 10:45 p.m.
That's the thing.
Like,
The doctor's word is not sacred. It's not.
No,
it's not the know all. Be all. It's when I had my surgery in the hopes that it would fix my back problems. The doctors told me specifically, this is like 99% sure not going to fix your back problem. I haven't had any back pain since having the surgery. So regardless of how positive she was, it was going to happen, there's still, it may not be entirely.
Absolute.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, if you were in a car accident.
The more we have this conversation, the more I'm starting to doubt that. Because I think there are some people who are too skeptical. Because I think that's where these anti-vaxxers come from.
Oh my god!
Because they think like, I don't know if I could trust these doctors.
Yeah.
Let me just do my own research.
Maybe
and
that's what's killing us.
they don't have the tools to actually do proper research or to think critically when it comes to that. And then they come to these solutions that are dangerous, and they think that they should. I don't know. They just need essential oils, and their son's going to be cured of diabetes.
That being said, I am not an anti-vaxxer. Okay, I just feel like plenty
But
people
yeah,
should be
but it's a prime
vaccinated before
example.
me.
That is a prime example of that.
Is being in a religion being a skeptic?
I think. Oh, sorry. Well, before that question, I wanted to say I think generally how I take it is if there's something that I don't know or I don't understand, I will tend to believe an expert in that field. Mm-hmm. I will tend to. Unless it goes completely against my own logic or my own sense. Because I tend to think, well, I don't know about this. I haven't done any research in this. This person has dedicated years to their life to this. Mm-hmm. I'm in no position to say that they're wrong.
That's the thing. It's like I'm gonna trust NASA on everything space. It's like I haven't been around the world, but I believe fully that it is round.
Yeah.
Like I'll believe that because they're experts
that have dedicated their lives to it. Yeah.
My problem is, dude, is once I like hear an expert said it, I have to look up the expert. Like I have to know
who they are.
Yeah, like what they've studied and
what their position is on a lot of things.
Yeah. I need to know. I need to know
Yeah.
where their biases are at and why they think the way they do, or why they decided to research such a thing and come up with this.
Commercials. 4 out of 5 doctors recommend this. It doesn't have to be a medical doctor.
Yeah, true. They're not actually dentists.
It can be. You can have a PhD in psychology.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to be a medical doctor.
Yeah.
And I feel like we kind of lack a little bit of that faith or that trust in each other nowadays, because you hear this like pushback of like, oh, politicians should trust scientists again, right? And another thing too is like if you're running a company, you're not going to learn every single aspect of that, right?
No.
You have to come to a point where you trust someone else and their expertise to do it. I feel like we could use a little bit more of that.
Do you think that trust needs to be earned, or do you think that it can be given and then taken away when that trust is broken?
All of the above.
No, but like
all of the above.
when you go into like meeting a new person, do you automatically trust them, or do you think that they have to earn your trust?
I think it depends on the situation. Like, because when we're talking about surgery, right? I feel like they're earning your trust by having their position where they're at, right? Like the fact that they are being recognized as a surgeon in that hospital.
But you just trust them automatically.
Your trust.
They didn't earn your trust. You just gave it to them because of who they are.
I don't think it's automatic. Because if a random stranger were to come up to me on the street,
no, but if it was a doctor, you're saying the doctor.
Yeah,
situation.
but what I'm saying is they're earning my trust by being in that environment, by being recognized by others in that environment. I think they're indirectly earning your trust.
What if it's like the worst ranked hospital?
Do you still?
I mean, if I know that, then that's like.
I don't know. I think that in medical sense, I automatically give doctors my trust. They don't earn it. It's just you're a doctor. Automatic. I'm giving it to you. But like outside of like a professional organization or something, I'm like, you may have to earn this.
Yeah.
I'm starting to learn that I'm one of the biggest skeptics in this room right now. I don't know your opinion, Emily, but
so it's okay. So when it's wrong to be a skeptic if a astrophysicist came up to you and was talking to you about space.
I don't know anything about.
And
about
me
space.
neither. But and then they were telling you, obviously they have credentials, right?
Can I see them?
if they showed them to you, right? would it be wrong to then?
To doubt them? To
Yeah.
be skeptical?
Wrong is maybe the wrong word.
No, even in a very scientific field, you have opinions
Yeah.
that are not necessarily accepted by everyone else. So, I mean, take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What if he was like talking to you about gravity, and you're like, let me look this gravity up.
What's gravity?
So like, going back to a question I asked earlier, is being in a religion being a skeptic?
I don't think it's being a skeptic.
I don't think so.
You don't think it's being a skeptic
think if
towards regular life?
No, I think that's contradictory. I think if you follow religion, you are not that skeptical.
Exactly. I think
Yeah.
that
You don't
not
think you could be
following
skeptical?
religion.
You don't think that could be skeptical?
No.
I think if you believe in a religion wholeheartedly, you're believing something that you can't prove and something you can't see.
So you're not
can't-
you're not skeptical about that at all. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm going to believe this because it's.
But what if you're not agnostic, atheist?
I think you're
then you are
skeptic.
skeptical.
You can't prove that either, though.
No, but you're skeptical about the existence.
Yeah,
You don't know if it's true or not.
I think they're in the better position because they're saying, prove it. I'm not going to believe it until you prove it to me. Whereas the religious people are like, I can't prove it, but I'll believe it anyways.
Wait, is it atheist or agnostic that believes there is no God?
That's atheist.
Agnostic believes
Yeah.
that there's a higher power. They just not sure what it is.
Yeah.
Okay, well then if
Or they don't understand.
atheist is I think that you're not skeptical.
You think you're not skeptical?
Because you believe in something. You know, it's the same thing. You just believe in the opposite. I believe wholeheartedly there is no God. And
I see what you mean. They're not open-minded to
but
that.
Agnostic, prove it to me.
Yeah, I guess because it's either way, right?
Yeah.
I can't prove there is, and I can't prove there isn't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm just asking.
Yeah. I don't know. 'Cause yeah, I guess so.
Is
I
there any
think
other-
it's just the question is: being skeptical, is that based on logic, or is
I
that
don't
just
think- I
a
think
matter of
being
being open-minded?
I don't think being
Ooh.
skeptic has to be based on logic.
You don't think so?
I don't think so either.
You're just being very open-minded.
Yeah.
Could be. There couldn't be. There could be gravity, but there couldn't be gravity.
Yeah.
It could be something else indirectly, right? That we just don't understand.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Because what is being skeptical? Just questioning things?
Yeah, not accepting everything as 100% the truth. Like
If
as
you're
our
s-
100%.
If you're
certain.
truly skeptical, would you identify yourself as skeptical?
I mean, there's plenty of people that I'm a skeptic, you know?
But is that skeptical to say? Because what if you're not a skeptic?
You're getting too deep.
Because then
You
you
see my
wholeheartedly,
point?
you,
You see my
He
point?
does this.
wholeheartedly,
He does this.
you wholeheartedly believe that you're a skeptic.
That's not very skeptical.
But like we were just
See-
saying, like being
Oh,
Now-
a religion.
Now,
right?
if Daniel was here, Daniel would go along with him.
he would, he
and
would feed James.
feed it into
Oh,
we
him.
would
my
try to
goodness.
come to some conclusion. But these
And
are
then
questions that have to be asked.
No, they
Me and
don't.
Andy-
Yes, they do.
Me and Andy are sitting here like, when's this gonna end? Let's change the topic, and Daniel's just still going.
I just love stuff like that.
I still think that you guys should let him speak on occasion without interrupting.
Hey, I'm all for you if the guy showed up.
Hey, you got to earn it.
Daniel,
It's
if you're
not given.
listening, I tried to fight for you.
Don't worry.
he don't listen.
He's not
Yeah,
listening.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. I got one more post if you guys are down
Sure.
to talk about it.
Yeah.
This one I believe in 100%. The fact that innocent people have been convicted in the U.S. proves juries need better instruction on what beyond a reasonable doubt means.
100%.
Yeah, I agree.
I've been watching so many crime documentaries recently, seeing so many people that I believe innocent, or even to be proven innocent, have been
Yeah.
convicted.
People don't understand proven until
No, with-
guilty
with-
and still
innocent
innocent still proven guilty.
guilty.
Jesus Christ, man!
No, I think that
my
beyond
brain
a
is dead.
reasonable doubt, that needs to be
Yeah.
clearly defined,
Yeah,
because people are like, I believe it. Like, even if they have their doubts, they're like, but I mostly believe it.
yeah.
And I think, if you doubt it, that's what it's saying. With
Any
reasonable
little
doubt,
bit, yeah.
then they
Any-
should not be convicted.
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. Let's just bring back the guillotine. People are like, listen, you don't tell the truth, your head's going to be cut off. But I mean, they have to decipher the truth.
I think they
anyways,
should just perfect lie detector technology.
I think people that are wrongly convicted too should be compensated for the rest of their lives.
100%.
For
Yeah, they're losing out.
Or at least for the time that was
what was that guy?
Beyond that,
making a murderer.
No, it was a staircase. I think.
Oh, the staircase.
Where the guy lost
18 years of his life.
18 years of his life when he was 17 years old.
Fuck, man.
His daughter was like 9 years old.
He was 17?
No, he was 72. Wait, what?
He was 17?
No, the
and his
other
daughter
guy
was
in the
9?
story that they're talking about.
Oh.
There's another guy they brought in
I was like, God
later.
damn.
He was 17.
That don't add up.
Or, I'm sorry.
What are you talking about?
No,
He
she
should
was.
have been shooting blanks at that age.
She was. There was another guy that got convicted
Dude's
for
8
17
years
years.
old, getting poo-tang.
That's making a murderer.
No, you're not.
Probably
You're
getting
not
it
with
with
me
the
on this one.
babysitter.
It was the staircase, and how that guy Mike got wrongly accused. They brought in another guy that was wrongly accused, and
this your
the
little
guy
sister?
that
No, it's my daughter.
proved that he was wrongly accused.
That's
They
my
used
daughter,
his
sir.
story to show that it happens.
Oh, the daughter was 9 when he got convicted, and she was...
He was. What was his age?
He was 25.
25.
He was in his 20s, I think.
Oh, then he came out 42.
He came out... yeah.
42.
Yeah, they
Fuck,
should be
dude.
compensated.
And so I think what his point was like that he doesn't know who his daughter is.
Fucking. She was
And-
26 years old.
Yeah, she's a complete stranger to him, and in that sense, like
That
that man should not have to work a day in his life.
No, man.
Like, I mean, he shouldn't be like getting mansion money, but he should not have to work.
That guy should be cured from death.
Yes.
no, he
Full
should be
circle.
getting. He should be getting mansion money.
Yeah, I would say so.
I would be like, can you
You
give
cannot.
me 18 years of my life back?
Yeah.
No, dude,
No.
fuck that. Exponential returns, man.
I
Because
know.
you don't know where he could have ended up in those 18 years.
Yeah.
You
I mean,
know what
well,
I mean?
granted, he was like like heavily into drugs and whatnot. So
He
he
could've turned
probably
himself
Fuck
around.
that. There's yeah. I mean, there's plenty of societies in this world that look at drugs as not a bad thing. Like, so what? The guy did drugs.
Well, the thing
Like,
for
just
me-
because it's bad in our country doesn't mean like this.
Yeah.
This is a terrible person.
Yeah.
You know.
The thing for me, though, is that no amount of money can make up for time.
taking
Right.
away
Yeah.
experiencing your daughter's
Mhm.
life.
Even
Yeah.
1 year.
She
Even
was-
1 year
she
of your
was-
life.
She was married and had a child.
Like, damn, dude.
I mean, like he may be able to like create a relationship with a grandchild, but with his daughter, it's never gonna be daddy, never gonna be that same
God.
childhood excitement or
I'm
childhood
feeling
love.
so grateful. Can you you have one life. One life. And can you imagine it being thrown away like that?
Mm-hmm.
That sucks, dude.
Yeah.
And there's not a thing you could do about it.
No, and
When we watch that shit, dude, I get so mad. I
Yeah.
get so
Yeah.
mad.
and I've just been binge watching all of these documentaries with people wrongly accused, and it's making me seriously question our justice system because it's I don't believe it is very just.
If we developed an AI or some type of algorithm that can detect the truth with 99.99999% certainty, would you believe in that instead?
I would be skeptical.
I don't know.
Right off the bat,
feel
I'd
like,
be no.
yeah,
No,
I feel
but
like I wouldn't be able to discredit the point one.
I think that if you
point zero zero zero
Point-
zero
yeah,
zero
sorry.
one.
I mean, if
Sorry,
you paired
0.000.
the AI with, a jury of your peers,
And they both lined up.
and they they both agreed on a decision.
Mm.
I think that might
What bothers me about having the 12
jurors.
peers is that there's plenty of times where they go to convene.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
It's fucking split, it's 7-5, whatever it may be, and then after hours and hours and hours, they all reach a unanimous decision.
Well, that's because people are bringing up facts that other people were or forgot.
Facts, or someone's just being so stubborn and hard-headed that they don't
and
change their mind, and they're just drilling it into someone's head, and they're sitting there for hours, and they're like, I just want to go home.
No, that's what I think of with the OJ case.
They don't give a fuck about this.
That's
this
what I
guy
think of with the
anymore.
OJ case. That decision was reached in I think 4 hours, and that's because 10 out of 12 jurors were black, and 2 were white, and every single black juror said, "My mind will not be changed."
Yeah.
And so, like those white
Oh, he
jurors
did
are
it,
like,
baby.
If you stab someone like 60-something times, man.
I love that
No.
tweet.
And then you went to
Yeah.
the next body and stabbed that one.
I love that tweet where it's like OJ said that if golf courses are shut down, he's gonna go crazy. Someone said, "How crazy are we talking?"
Yo, that man.
No, but another
Committed
documentary
murder.
was talking about how a jury can be made up of very weak-minded people who can be swayed very, very
I was gonna
easily.
say that. Like, how are you gonna leave?
But let me ask this though. Let me ask this: is the glove not fitting a reasonable doubt?
The glove
Answer
did
that
fit.
That
question.
should fit like a glove.
Did it fit? If the
looked
glove
like
did
it
not
fit to me.
fit, you must
He
acquit.
was doing this. He was spreading his fingers
Nah,
out
that
so
dude-
it wouldn't fit.
First of all, you got blood on the goddamn Bronco.
he had the he had the matching glove.
How do you? Come on.
Maybe hit a deer, bro.
Yeah, in California, in LA.
He had blood on the goddamn Bronco.
Dude, come on, this dude.
OJ did it.
Yeah, but I was gonna say, like, how are you just gonna appoint just these random jurors?
No, I mean there is a selection process, and
Is there?
yeah,
Because
there's
I've
a
been
selection
selected.
process.
I don't know how the fuck I've been selected.
No, I mean if you're summoned for jury
They
duty,
weed through you, dude.
Oh.
they go through a selection process
Yeah.
to pick the 12, and
The
both
actual
sides
12.
have to agree on the jurors that are selected.
Right.
And the defense is gonna want to pick people who are
Gonna sympathize.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
but I just
that-
don't see how you can weed through bias, like blatant.
You
no,
can't,
they
dude.
ask you a series of questions.
Well, like blatant bias, I'm sure you can weed through, but like how
Dude, I would fucking get kicked out just to get out of
Do
there.
you
No,
remember that? Do you remember that Family Guy episode when Peter was on a jury and he was trying to get kicked out? So he looks around. He's like, "Awful lot of honkies in here."
oh god.
That's what I think of every time.
Well, like my dad's done that before. There was a case that it was a father molesting his daughter, or something having to do with child abuse. My dad instantly said, "Nope, I got a daughter. Bye." Like, I'm not gonna be a part of this.
Yeah, that's,
You can very easily just lie your way out of things.
Out of
I would
jury
just be
duty.
like, I think they should all be locked up. Child molesters fucking go to the bottom of the prison.
Yeah.
Is it child molesters that get like beat real bad in prison?
Yep.
It depends on what you do. Women beaters, child molesters, rapists.
Yeah.
Depends. Yeah.
They get the worst of it
But
normally.
Isn't it child abusers that like get the
Street
hardest
justice.
hardest rap?
I think so. That and
Yeah.
women beaters.
Well, I mean, but there's so many.
Child molesters?
No, like wife beaters in
Oh.
Are there any
prison.
Doesn't mean they don't get their ass whooped. You just haven't heard the stories.
Are there any child molesters?
The molesters who are children?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there are, yes.
Molested
What's going on-
adults or
What's going on with that, huh? Where are they?
Bro, I love how distorted that was. What's going on with that?
That's so gonna be the short clip for this episode. What episode are we on?
What's going on
what
with
minute?
child molesters?
All right,
dude.
156.
I caught myself in that one.
I gotta pee now.
When you said it the way you said it, I was like,
Dude,
child
yeah, how do
molesters,
you
like,
say that? Child molesters?
See, and then James had to clarify for me to understand what you were
A
saying.
molester, that's a child.
What's worse than a rapist? A child.
Favorite clip ever.
Favorite Vine.
Oh, what the fuck, dude?
Oh, what's up with that?
I'm sorry for,
For who? The child
all those
molesters?
molesters that are children, man.
Dude, I want to know how hard that little monkey in there is fucking slamming.
Slamming those cymbals.
Yeah,
Dude,
dude.
you just got to think of things at different angles, you know what I mean?
You have him on overtime lately, dude. Like the last
Yeah.
2 years.
Man, if you use all this mental energy towards something else, Jesus,
be
bro,
a
where
billionaire.
you would be, where you would be, Andy.
Yeah, that's my problem.
Or you just got to turn this gift of one-liners into a business.
I don't know.
Time to start a YouTube channel.
They're
You should, give
They're
the
out
one-liners to companies who are trying to advertise.
Yeah, the child molesting company or what?
For a lawyer, what about child molesters?
I'll defend those too. 888-8888.
Has your child ever been molested by another
Yeah.
child?
Have you ever been molested by a child?
If so, call.
You can be compensated.
Yeah, what about all those priests that were molested, huh?
where'd they go? Where'd they go?
The
you
media
know?
doesn't want you to know about them.
Like, you can't put a child molester in juvie. They're gonna be molesting. They're gonna be mussing up and down.
Bro, you just made their job 10 times easier.
He's gonna be like, yeah, that sounds good.
I wish I went sooner. Oh shit, dude.
You mean there's a place for this?
Oh shit, dude, I'm sweating. Fucking sweating, bro.
This is a sentence?
Oh man. If you send them in regular prison, bro, you're just leveling up their game, dude.
Oh man. Sorry. I'm tingly.
I feel a little bit lightheaded from laughing so hard.
Dude, that was good.
I don't mean to make fun of
I think that's a
anyone
great
that's
note
being
to
molested. Okay, just let me put a disclaimer out there. I don't think molestation is okay. I think comedy is. You know, I know that there's people that have been severely impacted by it.
No, you know what? And it really depends on the context surrounding
Yeah,
this.
so anything could be done right.
Hey,
Hopefully.
what's funny is funny, bro, and that
Hopefully I
was
did it
fucking
right.
hilarious.
You're just trying to bring light to other criminals that may exist.
Child criminal.
No, but child molesters and child rapists.
Funny over right any day.
Are scum. The scum of the earth. Anyways.
Oh man. Now I'm genuinely curious where they send minor
Child molesters?
yeah, where they send child molesters.
Okay, would you call them child molesters or just molesters?
Dude, I don't know. It's gonna keep
'cause
me up at night. I need
Because,
answers.
you know, like an adult molesting an adult, it's a molester.
Right?
A child
Or
molesting a
sexual
child.
assault.
It's sexual assault.
Right,
Dude, I
right.
don't know.
I'm gonna think real hard on this and get back to you guys.
Yeah, dude.
Do some research
Yeah, you're welcome.
on Wikipedia.
I don't know.
Keep that thought in your head, huh?
You're a sick, twisted person, Andy. We ready to wrap this up?
We are.
Yeah.
All right. Goodbye. This is good. Remember, only you can prevent forest fires from the safety of your home. Don't let the white man get you down, and we'll see you on the next one.
My name is Alyssa, and I am here.
I am present.
My name is Alyssa, and I'm running for president.
Alyssa, what's the next election year?
20.
If you want to stop,
2021, right? 2020.
if you want to stop children molesting other children, vote for me.
Vote for me.
Oh shit. Okay. Oh, that was. All right. Well, once in, always in. Thank you for joining the circle. And as the great man Future once said, "Fuck it, mask off."
Whose episode is it?
Is it mine next?
Oh, you're supposed to go last, bro.
Damn.
Well, oh well.
Bye.
Yeah, it is what it is. All right. Bye.
This guy. Yeah, goodbye to all the child molesters out there. We're on you.
Bye.